Let's use Clifton's StrengthsFinder to build your unique talents and define your strengths. Unpack your strengths and what they mean to you in this self-discovery seminar. During this easy-to-use video seminar, your screen will occasionally go dark like this, and an on-screen prompt will ask you to pause your video. Brief instructions on screen will ask you to complete work in a seminar workbook. You can download a copy of this seminar workbook on our course site or at the Greg Learning Facebook store. And finally, before we get started, note that page numbers are provided on slide to help you follow along in your seminar workbook. Speaking of your workbook, it provides you with simple and beneficial learning that you can take back to your team or use in the future. The experience is designed to help you better understand and leverage your strengths and the strengths of others, so follow along in the workbook. It should help out. So before you jump into content, let's agree on some common language for our experience. First, StrengthsFinder is a psychometric evaluation, a scientific tool offered by the folks at Gallup to measure cognitive formation and function. Your Clifton StrengthsFinder measures talent. Talents are the building blocks of who you are. They are reoccurring patterns of thought and behavior. Talents are the things that you just do. Your strengths are the ability to consistently provide near-perfect performance in a specific activity. And finally, themes are common groupings of talent. Clifton StrengthsFinder uses 34 themes of talent to define your strengths. We'll talk about those a little bit later. The key to achieving success isn't trying to be someone else. It's discovering your greatest talents, what you naturally do best every day. My goal is to help you discover, develop, and use your unique talents and strengths for greater engagement and productivity. People who know and use their strengths are 6 times as likely to do what they do best every day, 7.8% more productive, and 3 times as likely to report having an excellent quality of life. Gallup named strengths instead of talents because the ultimate goal is to build true strength, and talent is only one component of a formula. A simple recipe for strengths is talent, your natural way of thinking, feeling, or behaving, multiplied by investment, which is the time spent practicing, developing your skills, and building your knowledge base, equals strength, the ability to consistently provide near-perfect performance. Let's start with our first activity. This is an individual exercise in productivity. You'll be measured on speed and quality of penmanship. Here's your directions. In the space provided for round 1 in your seminar workbook, write, "I use my strengths every day as many times as possible." Here's the trick. You'll need to grab your cell phone or a stopwatch and time yourself for 1 minute. So set your timer and let's go. Press pause now to complete this activity in your workbook. When you're finished, press play to continue. So how'd round 1 go? Generally speaking, I see people write, "I use my strengths every day," about 3 to 5, or maybe at the top end 8 times in a minute's time. Now, let's do the same activity again. You're going to use the box labeled round 2 in your seminar workbook to write, "I use my strengths every day," as many times as you can, timing yourself with a stopwatch on your cell phone or other device for 1 minute. Get ready, but I have one change in instruction. Before you hit that start button, make sure that you switch hands and write with your non-dominant hand. Ready? Go. Press pause now to complete this activity in your workbook. When you're finished, press play to continue. So, how was round 1 compared to round 2? It's an activity to demonstrate the importance of using our talents every day to realize the best productivity and the highest performance. So here's some reflection questions that I want you to spend some time reflecting on and answering by jotting some notes down in your seminar workbook. How did you feel about your performance in round 1? What about round 2? And what does this activity have to do with strengths? Press pause now to complete this reflection in your workbook. When you're finished, press play to continue. So as we talked about in the beginning of our seminar, a strength is the ability to consistently provide near-perfect performance in a specific activity. Let's take a look at strengths in a little bit more depth. Think of this. Do you have the opportunity to do what you do best every day? Chances are you don't. All too often, our natural talents go untapped. From cradle to cubicle, we devote more time fixing our shortcomings than we do developing our strengths. Start doing more of what you do best with the Gallup StrengthsFinder. Then give others the opportunity to provide feedback on what they see as your greatest strengths. For decades, StrengthsFinder has helped people excel. Your StrengthsFinder assessment will use your responses to pairings to identify your top strengths from 34 themes. So here's some directions for our next activity. First, complete the StrengthsFinder assessment online. You can find the StrengthsFinder assessment at the Gallup Strengths Center at www.gallupstrengthscenter.org. Second, record your top 5 strength themes in the space provided below. Press pause now to complete this activity in your workbook. When you're finished, press play to continue. Now, with your top 5 strengths identified through the StrengthsFinder assessment, it's time to make them your own. I call this naming it, or describing your own strengths. Take a few minutes to create a brief strengths development plan. Here's your directions. Grab a highlighter, a pen, and your Strengths 2.0 book or your Strengths Insight report. Highlight words or phrases that resonate with you. You'll know you're highlighting the right thing when you hear yourself say, "Yep, that's me." Finally, identify which strength you most strongly identify, and then name, claim, and aim it using your seminar workbook. Press pause now to complete this activity in your workbook. When you're finished, press play to continue. So let's talk a little bit about this idea of naming, claiming, and aiming your strengths. You'll see in your seminar workbook a section that looks something like this. As you consider your selected theme, name it, claim it, and aim it. First, name it. Make your signature theme your own. Describe what it means to you. What words or phrases in this strength description resonate strongly with you? Then claim it. This is all about appreciating the unique power and value that you have and bring to others. What does this strength help you be successful in the past? How does the strength help you be successful in your current role? And then finally, aim it. Intentionally practice and develop your talent. Find 2 ways you could start using your strength more intentionally tomorrow than you are today. Feel free to take as much time as you need in your seminar workbook to answer these name, claim, and aim it questions. A theme is a category of talents, which are defined as reoccurring and consistent patterns of thought, feeling, and behavior. We've talked about that. The Clifton StrengthsFinder measures the presence of talent in these 34 distinct themes that are shown on your screen. Now let's take a few minutes to define and describe some themes that may or may not be your own. In this activity, you'll use the descriptions in your seminar workbook and jot down which signature theme you think that description represents. You can use your Strengths 2.0 book or a simple Google search to help you understand and identify what strength you think is being described in the workbook. Let's go! Press pause now to complete this activity in your workbook. When you're finished, press play to continue. Now for another activity. Having a greater understanding of your strengths, you may find yourself with mixed feelings about some of them. Do you love them? Do others drive you crazy? Do you envy the strengths of others? So let's take a look at this activity where we talk about love, crazy, and envy when it comes to our strength themes. First, love. Maybe you take pride in your strengths because they describe who you are. Or crazy. Maybe your strength is associated with a negative term that leaves you with a sour taste in your mouth. Finally, envy. Maybe you find a strength, something that you really envy in something that someone else does. It causes maybe a little bit of jealousy. So let's identify whether you love or are crazy or envious of a particular strength. Here's your directions. Answer the questions in your workbook and then think about what do you love about your strengths, what drives you crazy, and where do you envy a particular strength theme. Let's pause now to complete this activity in your workbook. When you're finished, press play to continue. When leaders and team members alike discover their greatest talents, they find their greatest opportunity for strength and success. However, there are some guiding principles we must all come to understand in order to appreciate and grow our own strengths, yes, even the themes that drive us crazy. First, themes are neutral. Second, themes are not labels. Third, lead with positive intent when it comes to strengths. Fourth, differences are advantages. And fifth, People need one another. It's our job to help team members harness their individual and collective talent and intentionally bring them to life every day. In your seminar workbook, answer this question: what do great teams have in common? Press pause to complete this activity in your workbook. When you're finished, press play to continue. While each Clifton StrengthsFinder theme has its own power and edge, it can be useful to think about how your talents and strengths help you and the team execute, influence others, build relationships, absorb, and think about information. Gallup sorted the 34 StrengthsFinder themes into 4 domains of leadership strength. The domains are executing, influencing, relationship building, and strategic thinking. The categories are designed to help leaders think more clearly about how different individuals can contribute effectively to a team. So let's reflect on the importance of these domains. First, which domain is most dominant for you? Do you have any blind spots? Have you been maximizing your dominant domain? And have you been blind to any less dominant domains? Take a minute and complete this reflection in your seminar workbook. When you're finished, press play to continue. In domains, you might find yourself wanting to fill a gap where you don't have a lot of strength in a domain, but this is focusing on your weaknesses. Everyone has talent, and you have to invest in the talent where strength resides. When team members are working in their areas of strength, you're going to find greater productivity and performance. When we pair our natural talents, our strengths, with those of others, it amplifies our ability to reach excellence. Critical to the effectiveness of leading teams is the ability to find strength partnerships, individuals who will complement and support your path to excellence. In Gallup's research, 3 statements emerged as the most important for determining how well a person's abilities mesh with those of a team. First, we complement each other's strengths. Second, we need each other to get the job done. And third, he or she does some things much better than I do, and I do some things much better than he or she does. For your final activity, take a look at the best of us in your seminar workbook. Let's explore ways that you might use your unique talents and strengths to truly complement a partnership. The more you understand how your talents influence your feelings, choices, and actions, the better equipped you will be to positively and purposefully use your talents to complement others, and vice versa. So in your seminar workbook, take a look at the Best of Us activity and provide responses in each of the 4 quadrants. Then I challenge you to share this among your team or in a partnership that you could use the development of strengths. Press pause now to complete this activity in your workbook. When you're finished, press play to continue. Tom Rath in Strengths-Based Leadership says, employees who do not work in their areas of strength are only 9% engaged in their jobs versus 74% engagement levels for people who do work within their strengths. Throughout this seminar experience, you've gained a greater understanding of your strengths and influence. Not only have you looked at yourself and your natural talents, but you've built a greater self-awareness of your strengths. Your learning doesn't stop here. Continue to look for different ways to engage your strengths and the strengths of others around you.